So it's hello from Houston, a place that at the start of the Cape Verde World Cup campaign would have been probably described as the last stop. But I think the expectations have changed pretty dramatically ahead of the final group game here against Saudi Arabia in this stadium that's over my shoulder. It's in the early hours, Irish time. It's going to be a late one for anyone who's invested in Pico's story, and that's a lot of people at this stage. And the game with Saudi Arabia, which, as he said himself in the press conference, he was actually rolled out for the match day -1 official proceedings. He said himself that at the start of the group, they would have targeted this game and admitted that, that Saudi would have been the same. Potentially it's a chance to get through, because we are seeing, despite some sort of interesting results, that 3 points may be enough for some sides. But Cape Verde are now in a situation where they're coming into this game with 2 points on the board already, where a draw should be enough to get them through. But there is this sort of giddy prospect of a win, and then a win would guarantee a top 2 place, and the possibility of a game with Argentina in Miami next week, which is the possibility if they draw. I suppose there's an element of assuming that Spain are not going to lose to Uruguay. And of course, you see Ecuador, Germany, you see certain things happening. Maybe that's a dangerous assumption. But yeah, I think it is fair to say that Cape Verde are in a very, very strong position. And Houston, they hope, isn't going to be the end of the adventure, maybe just a step along the way. So, as I mentioned, Pico was up for the pre-match press conference. We can just hear a little bit from him now. I suppose just speaking in general terms about enjoying the occasion, enjoying some of the attention from home, but possibly also maybe a reference to almost reframing those expectations. And there's a balance, taking it in. He mentions Ray Houghton and his conversation with him here, but also sort of recognising that, that this is a privilege, this is an opportunity that not many people get, and as a result they are determined to make the most of it.
Yeah, the support has been absolutely amazing from everybody, and not just in Cape Verde, from Ireland, but all over the world. I think people have really got behind us, which is really nice. It's a really nice boost for the team. To say it's our first World Cup, and it's been a really special one. And we're just walking out there on the pitch. We're hoping to make it a little bit more special tomorrow. That was one of the things I said to myself before we're out there, was to make sure you enjoy every minute of it. And then I suppose your competitive side kicks in. I think the realisation came to me after the Spain game, and we got a great point. We got a clean sheet. From the sort of competitive edge, usually it's just a point. Should we really be celebrating it that much? And an Irish legend, Ray Elwood, approached me after the game, and he said, "And in a second, you've got a point and a clean sheet against one of the best teams in the world at your first ever World Cup." So it sort of puts into perspective that there's a reason to celebrate every moment and every day, without getting to sort of like sidetrack on what the overall goal is. To say this is the biggest stage that we have for our sport. You have to enjoy every day. It doesn't happen often, and doesn't happen for everyone. So to be here, it's a privilege. And we just want to try and prolong this journey as long as we can.
Yeah, so I did chat briefly to Pico on his way out of the room. He did confirm that Leah and Diego and that side of the family, they have abandoned their camper van now. It's been returned to wherever it was meant to be dropped off here in Houston, and they've checked into an Airbnb. And I suppose, look, at that reflects that they were all putting they could only afford to maybe plan for this far, and I didn't really want to get into the conversation about what comes next, because that is sort of tempting fate. But we spoke previously to his mother Judy about how she wants to go back to work. I know, as one of his brothers has gone home, and other people are probably now maybe on hold, wondering what they're going to do. But that is a dangerous game, because I do think for Cape Verde going into this game, they have been the underdogs against Spain and Uruguay. Now, we saw that the Uruguay game was a little bit crazy, and they went for it. Obviously, Spain was a lot more conservative, the approach, although they had a go later on. Uruguay was a bit more of a basketball match, sort of back and forth. But there is obviously a different feeling around this. Like Saudi Arabia, from their perspective, they have a chance to get through with a win. Because of their opening result. I mean, they have to win. There's no draw scenario for them. So you'd imagine that they're going to be quite bold in how they approach it. And Pico, who maybe in the first game was defending the box, in this game, you could be defending higher up the pitch, and we saw that in the Uruguay game. It was a little bit of a different type of occasion, and sometimes with Shamrock Rovers you see him sweeping a lot in the middle of the back three, and it could be a little bit more of that here. But as he said himself, like, these are good problems to have, and he has. I think, on the eve of the game, there was, I think, a video message going around with various footballers, and Robbie Keane and Jeff Hendrick, and people from the acting world and celebrity world all wishing him well. And I think he is conscious of the sort of, I suppose, the fame that's come with this, or the attention that's come with it. But I think with that, there's probably a realisation that they just don't want it to end now. And that possibility to extend it, it's a very real one. Like, they are now favourites to go through, which reflects a slightly a different approach. But it is an early hours game. It's going to be unusual. What I'd say, a lot of players in the league will be going home from their matches to watch Pico play. And when I was down in Corpus Christi this week, I did catch up briefly with two League of Ireland lads who are out here in Texas now, Jack Kearney and James Talbot, a rival of Pico in the Bows Rovers derbies. But I think, like everyone, even people of a Bows persuasion, pretty happy for him. So I will have a piece with the lads coming down the line about their own situations, but they did have some nice words for Pico as well.
It's probably every person's dream, and I think it's not the only thing that he's doing so well as well. It's a credit to the league. It's a credit to all the coaches, not only for Pico but in all the teams, to show that the standard of the league is so high that you can go in and fit in seamlessly. So it's been great, and hopefully they can get another result on Friday and get into the knockout stages.
James, are you okay with the Bows Rovers aspect?
Yeah, look, Pico sounds. It's brilliant. It's great to see. And I think if they get results, you're saying they're playing Argentina and Miami.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah, look, it's amazing. And to be fair to Pico, he's doing himself, his family, and the league proud. So and also Joey Nang. I know. Not many. He's not getting as much attention, but it's brilliant for him. And it's just great. It's great to see them repping the league and doing themselves and the family proud. So it's good.
So yeah, get your refreshments in, your snacks, whatever you want to do if you're going to stay up late. As I said, I think there's going to be a lot of people in the Irish football community and wider population have been captivated by this story doing that. It is a 1 a.m. kickoff Irish time at 7 p.m. here in Houston. And yeah, it's in their hands. A draw should be enough to go through. That could open up all sorts of permutations in terms of where they could go next. But there is a strong possibility it will be Argentina. And I guess, like, the challenge for Pico and everyone in the camp is now to reframe and to sort of refresh and go from being the sort of underdog story to really seizing the day like they belong here. I think they've got a pretty good chance of doing that.